On behalf of the William Julius Wilson team at Harlem Children's Zone and the Ed Redesign team, welcome to Harvard.
America's poorest children are in a state of crisis. And the question is, who's going to rally the troops to give them the skills necessary to begin to turn this thing around? And that's why we're here.
So we're here at the second edition of the Summer Institute for Neighborhood Leaders, bringing together over 200 local leaders from across the United States. We even have Hawaii in the house, so give it up. We got folks who flew from far away to be here.
We're really excited about digging deep in terms of what are the real problems that we're seeing on the ground and how can collectively we problem solve together.
We really see this as the premier training opportunity for those in the creative career place-based work in the country.
There's just a feeling of a meeting of allies, folks that are excited and happy to be together and energized by each other's presence.
Our focus today will be Cradle to Career programming. Tomorrow, we'll dive into all things funding, and on Friday, we'll dive into data evaluation and accountability.
I think the power of this institute is that we started off the first day with that aspirational thinking. And then on day two, we're actually talking about how do we do it.
This is an opportunity for us to talk now about private fundraising.
Not every organization in this room needs an infrastructure to bring in big federal grants, but you all can partner across entities and do that.
You are the keepers of hope in your communities, creating that strategy and then bringing the partners to bear to execute upon that strategy is a critical piece of your work.
I think we've got an even better balance this year between practitioners and experts, between national leaders and local leaders.
Maybe you should ask me.
We did more panels. We wanted to bring more examples from across the country in urban, suburban, and rural contexts of what it looks like to do this work.
What I think is beautiful about the Oakland story is the community has continued to say this has got to be our strategy.
The way that we get there is we build political power in those communities and we fight for what's needed.
We're going to do this in 12 other locations around the city of Dallas.
We have an accountable obligation to each child to see that we've given them everything they need to be successful.
I'm hoping the participants of the Institute leave here with some tangible resources of what to bring back to their respective communities. So real strategies around business planning, community building, fundraising, dealing with how to make meaningful impact, data.
I attended last year's Summer Institute. We were babes in the room last year, afraid about being in this space, but excited. As soon as we returned from the Institute, we got busy. I began to write out a whole plan, and it said, in 8 weeks, we are submitting a Promise Neighborhood grant. On December 26th, we found out we got it. So here we are. Here we are. It was the Institute and the urgency of now that was voiced from Geoffrey Canada and many of the other presenters. Those messages inspired our work and gave us the courage to do it.
One of the best things is actually finding just common purpose and fellowship with other people who are doing this work in their own backyard.
In the past, we might have like one team from rural America in the whole institute, and this year there's a whole group of them. It was really powerful seeing my superintendent from a small town in Texas connecting with a large urban superintendent to say, you know, we're dealing with that same thing. Let's talk about this.
I get to tap into folks from Toledo and from California and talk about what's going on there and grow and learn.
You see a lot of cross-pollination, a lot of serendipity, and I think a lot of lifelong friendships are being formed here.
It absolutely is the fire that I need to continue to go back and do the work that we have to do.
One can't help but be energized and inspired by really meaningful work and the deep commitment of the people who are doing it.
The work that we're doing is ever evolving. So we're constantly having to innovate on our strategies. And so I'm really excited to learn from my colleagues in the field.
I would love it if they grew this so that more people from around the country could come. There's not one solution. to some of the issues that seem so intractable around equity for our children and our communities. And it will take all of us.
It's a movement. We want to build a movement.
The hope for this country is right here at Harvard today. Even after all of the trauma our children and families have faced, we are still going to get those children on the path to social and economic mobility. And we have a whole team of folks around the country who are dedicating themselves to this effort.